So, man, once again, I continue to dodge bullets when it comes to my travel because I visited Texas, just about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're reopening the state,
Yeah, man.
right?
Yeah, man.
How do you feel about this? It is taking effect this week, the week the podcast is live. And all restrictions, curfews, masks, mandates, they're all being lifted. Man, just as somebody who has to deal with that on a day-to-day basis, you have to deal with the repercussions of it. How do you feel about that?
Oh well, I mean, I'm still wearing a mask, so those changes don't really apply to me. But
Oh, I know.
I think it's incredibly stupid. I think it's too soon. Um,
I don't
and
think
yeah,
it's
I know that people are probably gonna find offense to me saying this, but I really do. I think it's way too soon. Like we still have a very good portion of the population that's not vaccinated. And at the same time, the portion that is vaccinated, actually, a lot of them have only gotten the first dose,
yeah,
which has been proven that you need both doses to be for it to hit that, 95% effective rate.
absolutely.
Like, I think
Yeah.
if you get the first dose, it's like really low. So you're still in pretty high likelihood to get COVID and stuff. Um, so I I don't I think it's stupid. I think it's really, really dumb. So uh I think that, we need to wait at least until, I don't know, like 85% of the population, at least in, say, like the state or whatever like that, has gotten vaccinated and getting the full vaccination. Now, that's just me being overcautious, but that's how I think makes the most
Yeah.
sense, because that's the thing, right? Just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean, and I'm thinking, if I'm not mistaken, right? Uh, Even some of the experts like Dr. Fauci even said that just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean that you can't carry the virus.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, see, Christina even chimed in right there and said it. So yeah, you can carry the virus even though you are vaccinated. So you're still putting people at risk, and that's the reason why even he said you should still be wearing a mask even if you're vaccinated,
Yeah.
because you can be a carrier to other people. Essentially, you'll just be an asymptomatic carrier, which is just as much of a problem. So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
um, so that's the big importance there. Like it's just dumb. Like it goes against all the CDC guidelines. And I understand that Texas isn't the only state that is doing this. I think what Florida is considering
Florida's
doing
been
this
doing
or
it.
whatever like
Um,
that.
yeah, and then Mississippi followed Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, our good friend Aaron Wandra already chimed in on the live stream from Mississippi, so he's right in the thick of it right now. Yeah, man, I agree. And the thing is, I have kind of an in between view of this. I think that certain restrictions should be relaxed. There was one, and we talked about this last week, right? Because right before I went downtown was when we were doing this podcast, and they had just eased a lot of restrictions here in Sedgwick County, in
Mm-hmm.
Wichita. And the thing about it, Aaron asking, is it Mississippi or Louisiana that followed? We'll have to jump on that, double fact check
Yeah,
ourselves.
could
But
verify.
okay, stand by. But the thing about it is, we went downtown, right? And there were a lot of people there. I guarantee you that the bar that we were at was not checking capacity. It was supposed to be 75% capacity. Here's my thing. I said this last week. I don't have a problem with the curfew being extended, because people are going to find something to do either way, and there's still going to be that threat of spread, no matter if
Mm-hmm.
bars are forced to close at 11 p.m., midnight, 2 a.m. That's just my opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the capacity thing is still an issue. I'm surprised they eased the capacity restrictions here. For this to just go, free for all, and yes, I mean, there's a lot of people, including obviously the governor of Texas himself, who thinks that this is a restriction infringement on your rights. But when you look at it from the standpoint of they're just trying to keep people healthy, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's all that's trying to be done here. It's not trying to like, you know, control the mindless masses with masks, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's oh, and by the way, I got that stat. As of let's see, this is on ABC News. There have been 5 states that have said that they're doing no mask. They're lifting the mask mandate or will soon lift the mask mandate. So it's Texas, Mississippi, Iowa, Montana, North Dakota. Are all going to either are all they have lifted or they are going to lift the
Yeah.
or will soon lift the mask mandate.
I will say I was a little surprising to me. Montana and North Dakota, not so much, you know. The
Mm-hmm.
deer and the antelope and the cows were probably fed up with having to wear masks all the time. But there has been earlier in this, well, I guess I should say last year now, a really bad spread in North Dakota and Montana. They kind of became the hot spots for the country.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron reporting live from Mississippi says it's pretty masked up here, and each city and town can determine to keep masks or drop it.
Okay.
That's interesting. I don't know if that'd be the case in Texas. I know it wouldn't be the case here in Kansas. Typically, what they've done. Oh wait, yes, it would. Sorry, I have that flipping
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
Um,
and in the counties, I think a lot of the counties are kind of debating a lot of that mask mandate stuff right now.
yeah. Well, I got an email from my old church in Texas that said they were going to keep their mask, social distancing, all those requirements. You know, I think it's really going to come down to the businesses' reactions and the individual reactions. You know, taking it upon yourself to be safe now.
Yeah. Well, I
Um,
think that's the hard part for businesses, like small businesses, right? Because I remember when it was advised, and so a lot of businesses were already going the route of saying like, "Hey, we're going to do these mask mandates, or we're going to, if you want to come into our store, you have to have a mask on." And they were already having like a lot of backlash even before it was like a state thing. So I feel like it's just going to make it even worse
yeah,
if you just remove the state mandate and just go towards just making it like via businesses or county or whatever like that.
right. Well, I think the problem with this is it sends the wrong message because yeah, I think theoretically it's you guys police yourselves and make your own rules. It won't be a from the top down kind of control at this point, right? But the fact that the governor did this on Texas Independence Day, I mean that's a totally different message that he's sending by doing that. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
we're fighting for our freedoms, right? You
Mm-hmm.
know? Yeah. Yeah, we're out here trying to live like a free life, Texas way. On Texas Independence Day, I'm liberating you from the tyrannous masks you all have been having to wear for a year. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
I just it's crazy to me. It's really crazy to me. So
What is?
yeah, I mean, I think that as far as my concern for you all, my friends and family down there, I think the people that have gotten it, we're gonna get it regardless. They've already gotten it. And I think people like you who have not, I mean, you're still going to do the things and take the precautions to not get it. I'm not really too concerned. And vaccinations are on the way. What I am concerned about is, you know, we have an opportunity to, despite COVID, despite the fact that we're still vaccinating people, have a really awesome summer. Have like a summer that's close to normal. But we have things like this happening. We have Alabama and the Beach Boys that was a co-headline concert that was delayed honestly 2 years, and they're about to play at Interest Bank Arena here in Wichita in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Mm.
Sorry, it's just too much too soon, and we're so close to the finish line. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to see because I already have a lot of gigs lined up, and I don't want to see these decisions force those to be canceled because the positivity rate goes back up. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because my thing in Wichita here, the positivity rate's as low as it was when I was playing gigs last year, big gigs like in front of a couple hundred people.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, I was like, yeah, let's ease the restrictions, but maybe not as much as they were then because that obviously didn't work,
Mm-hmm.
We actually tracked it, and it turns out all of those gigs were super spreader events because the positivity rate went up right after them.
Oh, that's bad.
No, it's I'm playing, but it was around that time always.
Mm.
Um, so anyway, I have mixed feelings about the easing of restrictions overall, but I definitely am very much against just saying, "Hey, it's a free for all," in the case of
Yep.
Texas and some others. So, yeah, wanted to discuss that right off the bat. But the next thing we're going to jump into here, we got a lot of good topics today. We want to
Oh
talk
yeah.
about people not getting paid after the power outages that affected so many people, specifically in Texas. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so much so that the power outages, it killed internet access, it killed um, businesses, the ability to allow people to work. And apparently, there are some cases where those people who literally could do nothing about the fact they couldn't work are not going to get paid.
Yeah.
An interesting topic there. We want to jump into it. And then we also want to discuss the, SpaceX, their big mishap that was caught on camera because they broadcast all of their launches,
Mm-hmm.
very widespread. And these things happen, but we want to talk about that explosion, how that impacts them, and we want to more so talk about the space hotel. Your next trip, your next destination vacation could be to the middle of space. Want to get
Yeah,
away?
man.
Well, you can't get away much more than this.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Get off
So
the
let's go.
planet. Go on to
Yeah. Well.
SpaceX.
Yeah.
Or go
I want to
into
leave.
a space hotel.
Well, for all those who say I want to leave this planet, yeah, that this is
Hey,
for
there
you.
you go.
So, yeah. With that said, man, let's go ahead and jump into it. Oh man, back hurting, man. Back hurting.
Back hurting, man. See, you gotta get a good chair, man. Gotta get a
Yeah.
good, clean chair.
Um.
Like
Well, yeah, I know. Oh yeah, we need to pitch
this
that.
good, clean shirt
I
right
know.
here.
I
You
almost
guys should
forgot.
jump up on these. Oh, let me move the mic. Look at that. Yeah. There we go.
I love it. I love the energy. Um. Let's see. Yeah, as always, the where to check out, get some good, clean merch, support the show. It would mean a lot to us. Um, you can find that in the link of this episode, uh,
Yep.
down in the description of it, I should say, of the live stream. So we would very much appreciate it. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it, man. Keep this thing moving. Okay, let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. I want to make sure I'm well versed on this before we. Okay, blah 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 blah. um, her employer required her to use vacation days when the power went out at her house for 3 days. That's insane.
I know.
Um, so yeah, this kind of that's good. Okay. Um, I figured there'd be something. Pay was docked. That's so crazy. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think I got plenty of stuff here. Okay. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into this thing. Okay, three,
Oh,
two.
wait. We need to do our intro, man.
Oh, dude, I was about to swing into it, man. No worries. I'm not
Okay. I
forgetting
just want
that
to
in
make sure, man.
2021. It was all 2020. You guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but there was probably 5 episodes in a row where I had to keep copying and pasting the same intro from an earlier episode because we kept forgetting to say, "What's going on, everybody? I'm John," and so I had to like copy and paste from old episodes. Funny. Um,
Mm-hmm.
all right, man. Let's go ahead and do this thing. 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? I'm John,
And I'm Dennison.
and this is the Catchup. Yeah. All right, cool. Oh man. All right, let's go into these topics here. 3, 2,
Mm-hmm.
1. All right, man. So before we jump into these topics, as usual, gotta remind people, make sure that you all are aware of the ways to connect with us beyond listening to this show. We are live streaming on Facebook right now, hence our references to the comments in the first part of this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we love about this is if you follow us, give us a like on Facebook, you can jump into discussion on these episodes as we record them in real time and kind of direct the direction of this
Mm-hmm.
podcast of each episode and get involved with us and voice your opinion, join the discussion. It's a great opportunity for us to connect and catch up with more people. We love that ability, so please give us a like on Facebook. Instagram we also have, and you can be among the first to be notified when a new episode goes live there. YouTube, we're
Mm-hmm.
getting close to our Turo rental car Top Gear
We
style.
are. We are. We are.
Yeah. Denison, what's the update on that, man?
Well, I think we're actually ready for us to do our voiceover stuff. Because
Ooh,
we need to do the last little bit of that, and then I could put that in there, and I think we should be good.
it's very
So,
exciting. It's very
yeah,
exciting. We're
yeah.
doing some voiceovers. We're gonna it's gonna look cool. We shot a lot of video for you guys. We talked a little bit about it on the podcast. It ended
Mm-hmm.
up being so
Mm-hmm.
good. I thought, we can't do an audio version of this for the podcast. It has to be all video, and it's gonna go over on our YouTube channel. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So give us a like on that, or subscribe, smash the subscribe button and ring the bell.
Exactly.
Ding. Um, Notified when new videos go live. We're also putting some of these live streams up over there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and let me see. We got our website,
Well, yeah. Well, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, you got this,
No,
man.
no, if you're watching on the live stream right now, you see this good clean merch we got going. I
Mm-hmm.
got the let's go ahead and get into a t-shirt. And Denson has the we'll catch up with you next time t-shirt. All
Mm-hmm.
clean. There's a whole lot more too. There's a whole bunch of other things. We got mugs, we got phone cases. Really cool stuff. And it's all available on our website. Also available on that website is our episodes, all the videos. It's basically everything I just mentioned, but all in one place. Um,
Exactly. Makes it
which
way
is
easier for everybody to check out.
absolutely. So I would check that out. That's all of this is linked in the description of this episode. Social media is Facebook or Instagram.com/the Catchup Cast. You can search the Catchup Podcast with John Denson on YouTube to find us. And then just go to nosignalrocks.com. There'll be a drop down menu for the podcast page.
Yep.
Um, and yeah,
Oh, we all
leave us a
don't
rating.
forget. Yeah, well,
Huh?
yeah, exactly. And also don't forget to reach out to us on our Gmail, which is the ketchupcast at gmail.com.
Again, that's
Uh,
the Catchup Cast at
cast at
gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Um,
Because, just in case you can't tune in on the live streams doesn't mean that you can't help us direct future episodes, because we would still love to be able to have like a whole episode of literally just user questions, or not user but listener questions, or even listener topics that we could have. That'd be amazing, right? And then also, if you guys want to be featured on the podcast, and kind of do a little discussion with us, that's a great place to reach out to us, and we can go from there.
it really is. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. So check that out. And leave us a rating review. Let us know how we're doing, what you like, what you don't like. Let us know so we can grow. And each rating review makes this podcast more visible to other potential listeners. So we would love to hear your thoughts and your take on all of it. And that's pretty much it for the plugs, man. So
Yeah, man.
first topic that we want to jump into, man, is about getting paid when the power was out, right? And this affects Texans more so than most other people, but it affects some other people too.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas had its own rolling blackouts, but they weren't too serious.
Mm.
What was the longest you ended up going without power during that time?
I think it was about 15, 16 hours, something like that.
Really? I didn't even
Mm-hmm.
know that. You went 16 hours, almost or 2/3 of a day without
Mm-hmm.
power.
Yep. 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 It started at Granted, like it did start like late, so it started at I think it was 2 a.m. that Monday morning, I guess technically.
Yeah.
And then it went all the way until was it like 8 or something like that?
Mm.
Monday. So it was a long time.
Yeah. So you missed a whole day of work because of that, right?
Yep.
I know you're kind of go through a transitional phase right now, but did you get paid? How'd that work out?
Yeah, no. So I actually did get paid. Happily, the my company, just had like a time code ready for that because, essentially the thing was I couldn't. There was no way for me to work. It wasn't just, oh, I couldn't work at home. I can go into the office. It was, I can't work at home. I can't go into the office because the roads are bad, but also the office was having power outages as well. So
Yeah,
if I would have gone there, I wouldn't have been any more productive than I was at home.
sure.
So they compensated me for those days because it was literally, there was nothing for me to do. And I didn't
Yeah,
have to use vacation time, which was nice.
yeah,
But I know not everybody was as fortunate as I was.
yeah. Well, I mean, aside from the fact it would be I feel like a workplace hazard for you to have gone into work, you know, to leave your home to go there. Yeah, it you like you said, you had nothing you could do about it. So, um, I'm glad that you're getting paid. The reason I bring this up is because there's a good amount of people who are not.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know really what can be done about this. It's kind of a shocking thing to me. Uh, you know, it goes along the lines of of people who have to work from home or have to quarantine or are sick from coronavirus, right? They're still having to use
Mhm.
sick days. And if they run out of sick days, then it's getting docked in their pay. And we're talking about a global pandemic here, right?
Yep.
That scenario, that idea to me is kind of wild. And I don't necessarily agree with it. But um, outside of that, this is even harsher to me because it's something that affected the whole state. And
Mhm.
look, like I get why businesses would have a vested interest. Um, wow. See, and Christina said they
Mhm.
told them to use vacation or comp time. I
Yeah,
get
see,
why
that's insane.
it is. Yeah. I get why businesses have a vested interest in doing that, right? Because they lost money too. They lost money.
Mhm.
They weren't expecting to have to cover those losses because of that. But as a business owner, as a successful business, you should always be ready to have to cover anything like that, right?
Exactly, exactly, and you shouldn't force that on to your employees, I feel like,
That's
that,
exactly it. That's
"Hey, we
exactly the
lost."
problem of it to me is that they're forcing it on their employees.
Exactly. "We lost money, so, you're gonna have to wallow in this problem as well."
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
it's just not fair. It doesn't make any sense, and for me, it doesn't give me a lot of confidence in the business in itself, right? Because it's like, hey, if you haven't prepared for a rainy day, what's to say if, say, if you work at an office, right, and that office gets destroyed by like a hurricane
something crazy.
or some sort of natural weather event, like, do you guys not have some sort of insurance or whatever to keep you going even though that happened? It
Hmm.
just doesn't give me confidence in the company itself because it makes me feel like, oh, well, then I'll just lose a job, right? I'll just lose my job if that happens.
Yeah,
So, um, yeah, I feel like, like you said, as a successful business owner, you should be prepared for anything like that to happen, which is hard to do, but I feel like you set aside a certain portion of your budget to do that.
yeah. No, I agree, and I think that it is hard to do, but these are sacrifices that you have to be able to make as a business owner. You have to expect them, prepare for them. Um, expect the unexpected. And so, yes, to put that off on your employees is wrong. I was reading about is there are people like Christina who have had to use their vacation time. And some people are having their pay docked, they're not
Mm-hmm.
even getting a chance to use that. And there was one woman at a call center that obviously with the outage, well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I guess if everyone still used the old style phone systems, they could still make phone calls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she had her pay docked for her work at this call center. It's insane to me. And um, my thing about it is we have people. Okay, so in Kansas, we jumped on, and the rolling outages weren't even that bad here, but we jumped on this
Mm-hmm.
bill that would provide funds, emergency relief funds for cities who are going to have high utility bills due to this. There was one in, I think it was Cheney, that their gas bill was going to be 600% higher than what it would normally be.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. It was crazy. And so, they've made these funds available to cities like that. I think that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we did that in Kansas, and you have people in Texas, to tie this back to our first conversation, that are saying, you know what, let's go ahead and set Texas free, right? And make
Mm-hmm.
this sweeping decision to undo all these restrictions. But what we're not going to do is find a way to help them financially, either the businesses or the employees, right? Who are not getting paid. And that
Yep.
to me is crazy. That's a lack of prioritization. That is here and now. Obviously, the pandemic's here and now too. But which one of those is more pressing at this moment? You want to reopen the
Exactly.
economy, that's great. But what good is that going to do if no one has any money to spend, right?
Exactly. What cost are you doing this at? Um, yeah, because if your citizens are crippled because they have to pay these astronomical power bills, as well as they didn't get paid during essentially that whole week of the winter storm, like how do you expect them to help push the economy forward when they're already hurting just in general, right? Because that's the thing, this is all on top of the pandemic, which
Yeah,
is already causing so many issues.
no
So
doubt.
it's a compound issue, and it's stupid that we're not taking it with a higher severity, right?
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. I really do. It's something that needs to be addressed because playing with somebody's money when there was nothing, like, to put yourself in those shoes. There's nothing that could be done about this for you, for anybody. You are subject to Mother Nature and a lack of poor planning, or I'm sorry, a lack of good planning on the part of utility companies and the state, right? Because of
Mm-hmm.
that, you have to lose money. It's mind blowing to me. And so I was reading that they are working on, or some lawmakers, which there are a lot in Texas, are working on a bill to fix this. I think that's great. But it is in the early stages, and this is something
Yeah,
that
I
my
feel. Well, go ahead.
well, it's something that in my mind should have been first in the prioritization, especially talking about how Kansas has already provided um, it was $100 million in funds for cities. This is
Mm-hmm.
Kansas, right? We don't
Yep.
have money just flowing out of our ears, growing on trees around here. We don't have that liquid gold, oil like Texas does. So, but what were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, like, I feel like by the time that it actually passes, it'll be a little too late, right? Um, because we know that we're not gonna, you know, people have already had to pay the bills, and they're gonna. I can see it how what will happen is people have already paid their, high astronomical electric bills or whatever like that, and then they're going to have some sort of like, well, if you had to pay this, you need to file a report or file some sort of thing to be able to get reimbursed for it. But that's the
Yep.
thing, right? If people are already hurting and stuff like that, and then say it's not distributed out properly, and what I mean by that is like they don't like they don't give that information the right way, and get to the right people. There are plenty of people who are just going to have to like eat the, bite the bullet and have to deal with this, which is stupid.
Yeah,
um,
it is.
so
It's
yeah,
funny.
I'm right there with you. I think they should have done this way earlier instead
Yeah,
of waiting this long.
I know. And I'm trying to think, what's the worst thing? Is it the insinuation that only old people, or was it the insinuation by the Texas? This is all Texas. Now that I think about it, the Texas lawmaker that said the older generation has to be willing to make the sacrifice of their own health for the sake of the economy.
Yeah, I
Is
remember
it?
that.
Yeah. Is it reopening everything when we're so close to the finish line anyway, or is it allowing people to lose money or vacation time for something that was completely out of their control? Um, I saw this meme, and it wasn't a meme, but it was a scene from SpongeBob where SpongeBob shapes his body like Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, "Hey Patrick, what am I?" And Patrick goes, "Stupid." And he goes, "No, I'm Texas." And Patrick's like, "What's the difference?" And, man, I mean, I love Texas. I grew up in Texas. I love the environment, the culture, the people. Um, but all throughout these things, there have been major missteps that have made Texas look very bad, and that includes Ted
Mm-hmm.
Cruz going to Cozumel during the
Yep,
outage.
exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
so I want to be clear, even though these are very high-profile things, I don't think this is indicative of the state of Texas. I made a post about all of this, all the reopening and all that stuff on Facebook, and some people who thought I was in favor of this reopening started commenting, and they very much misunderstood. But there's a lot of people out there. What's crazy about this to me is, as we say this, there in a lot of people's eyes, this is only helping Texas's reputation, right?
Yeah.
That's what's weird. So
Yeah.
yeah, just completely divided perspectives, I guess. But
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Texas is like I enjoy the state, but I feel like our legislation has been um really showing the cracks. The past year and a half, I guess, at this point.
well,
Um so
yeah,
yeah.
ever since ever ever since Greg Abbott became a governor, to be honest.
Ah, yeah, exactly. To be honest, it really is that.
Yeah.
Um I have not really been a big fan, but hey, that's another thing. That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, it's a whole other topic. So, hey, let's speaking of other topics, I say we go ahead and jump into our next one. It's about space, the final
Mm,
frontier, right?
space. Hmm.
Yeah. So there's some interesting stuff to talk about here. First of all, SpaceX, I don't really know. I know this was kind of a big step for them in their rocket technology. Um by the way, I agree. I agree. But he acted, you know what? I'm not even gonna verbally acknowledge who she's talking about, but
Hmm.
I agree. But he handled himself a lot better, so it wasn't to me as obvious how
Mm.
much of an idiot, you know what I mean? Um,
Hmm.
until he forgot the third thing on the presidential debate.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that was bad.
it was really bad look. So anyway, uh yeah, so this next topic, SpaceX, I don't really know the full details of what is new about this rocket that they were testing, because it was a
Hmm.
test launch. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. It was a test launch. It was a prototype rocket that would be used for going to Mars. Because SpaceX has been gearing up for I think manned flight to Mars.
Yeah.
Oh, a manned mission, I should say.
So that's what this was for. Was a test for
Yeah,
that?
yeah. It
Okay.
was a prototype rocket trying to test
Yeah.
out and see how it would go.
Well, obviously it didn't go well.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
It
Yep.
blew up. They said it was a liquid nitrogen leak. Is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah. And it blew up in spectacular fashion. I believe that was a similar issue to the Challenger, if I'm right. Um,
I can't remember.
can't remember either.
Um,
But this didn't even make it off the ground. It was literally the boosters launched and the whole thing went up in flames, man. It looked like an action movie. Um,
well, apparently though, it was when it was landing. It was trying to, because SpaceX has been working on rockets that can take off
yeah,
and land themselves, so that way they're reusable at that point.
I'm gonna have to just cut this entire part out because I sound like an idiot.
No, no, it's all good. Because yeah, apparently it was um and I'm gonna read it off just to make sure that I get it right, right?
Okay.
But yeah, essentially it took off, right? It climbed to about 6 miles. Um and then it was trying to mimic essentially some of the other test flights that they have done
Yeah.
by landing itself. Well, it instead of landing, it exploded.
Right. Did. So okay, so what
So,
I saw, which if you're watching on the live stream, what's crazy about these rockets, they can stand straight up and land like so.
mhm,
And
exactly.
that really is crazy to me because the turning and articulation of that craft in the atmosphere is mind blowing to me. But and so it was landing and it hit the thrusters really hard to make sure it didn't crash into the ground, right?
Mhm,
And explosion. um,
exactly.
now, was this a self-flying rocket? I assume. I mean, obviously, what I mean is, I know there wasn't anybody inside, but was someone piloting it remote?
I don't believe someone was piloting it remotely. And I can kind of look at it a little bit more, but
Okay.
I think essentially it was, they had a sequence in there that was kind of doing the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably the most amazing thing to me is how Elon Musk can use technology from across different companies to improve each company, right? So
Mhm.
it's self-flying, self-driving technology, scratching each other's back to a degree. But yeah, that really is amazing to me to have a self-flying rocket, right? Um, it proves to me even more so that we would have self-driving cars if the uh, NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Association, wasn't so far behind, right, in
Mhm.
regulation. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's
No. Or go ahead.
well, that's really what's held back this kind of technology. There was also a push a few years back to put inductors under the highway, which my God, that would be quite a project to try and pull off. But inductive charging, basically, when you set your phone down on a panel that charges the battery, right, rather than plugging it in somewhere. It's like that, but for electric cars. And so you could theoretically drive forever with your electric vehicle, with
Mhm.
something like that. And then self-driving cars, another thing. These are hurdles that have to cross the federal government and have yet to do so. So the fact that we're doing it in a larger scale, like with SpaceX technologies, proves to me that we are on the cusp of achieving things like that, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. No. No. We're getting really close. To think that in say like I think they're trying to do a manned flight to Mars by like 2030. So just to think, in what 9 years that we could have a manned flight going to Mars is pretty incredible.
Right.
So yeah, and
Well,
I think we're really moving in the right direction. Um,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It's,
So, I want to make sure that I have the facts right on this here. So,
mm-hmm.
before I get into this, because what's crazy about that to me is the fact that, well, let me make sure I can stop this here because there we go. So, we're going to have people traveling to Mars in 2030, right? So, we're not talking commercial, right? We're talking
Mm-hmm.
um, for research, for science, right?
Yes.
And it's crazy to me that that's 9 years away because I'm going to share the screen here if you're on the live stream. Um, let's do this here. Yeah. Oh, I can share video files. I'm learning all sorts of stuff. Um, yeah. So take a look at this. In 2027, this is going to be a vacation destination. Space
Mm-hmm.
hotel. Um, Voyager station, right? So you just get on these little space buses, right? I like that they have two of them out here, like they'd be that close.
Yeah.
It'd be that busy,
Exactly.
Um,
Just everybody's going to the space hotel.
right. Yeah. Check that out. Yep. There's your space bar, you know,
Mm-hmm.
space. Oh, these are what are these little escape
Maybe,
pods?
yeah, maybe escape pods. You got to be careful.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they're miniature shuttles. I don't know if it's like, hey, you want to go out for a drive? Let's check out
Mm-hmm.
space. That could go very badly, very quick. It doesn't really look that accommodating. I'm not gonna lie. um, but
Hey,
it also looks
it's the
like,
experience, man.
yeah. Oh man, look at this. This kid's getting dunked on so hard.
He is, man.
This kid's getting posterized, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the parents are just down here, like, not even paying attention to this.
Yep, they're like, this is fine.
Man, Space Jam, Space Jam,
Mm-hmm.
Space Jam 3 on here. Um, so it's wild. So one thing I was curious about with this, so it's literally a gigantic, it looks like a massive, um, uh, what would you call it? A massive Ferris wheel is basically what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
That's just in space, and then the shuttles would dock in the center of it and let people get off and go to their hotel room, and stay out in space, right? And what's interesting about it, I figured this would be the case. So that station, being that it's like a Ferris wheel, is going to rotate, um, and because of that, it's going to essentially simulate gravity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so your rooms would be on the outer edge of this entire wheel here.
Yep, because
Uh,
it's rotating
yeah, and so that's how it
super
would
duper
simulate gravity.
fast.
So obviously, it's not going to be the same gravity as what Earth has, but it'll be some level of gravity. So you're not just floating around and having to do astronaut training before you go to space, right? That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so yeah, this is interesting too. This is inspired by 60-year-old designs from Werner von Braun, aerospace engineer who pioneered rocket technology in Germany. He's one of those that was hired by the U.S. after World War II. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he designed. So there was these V1 and V2 rockets, right? Um, that were. I'm going to go back up to the wheel here. Um, that you know they were basically suicide mission rockets, but like there wasn't anything like rocket technology at that point, you
Exactly.
know.
Exactly.
And so he pioneered it, which is really crazy. Oh man,
Yeah,
look at
no, like we owe essentially our rocket as well as I think even jet flight to his designs.
yes, absolutely.
He was incredibly talented and smart scientist, or I should really just say talented because same thing. But anyway, he's
Yeah,
incredibly talented scientist that we owe a lot of our technological advancements in aeronautics
yeah,
to. And
yeah.
so, it's amazing that he even, had a part in even designing something like this, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's an ambitious project, and like I said, we're just trying to get to Mars by 2030. But
Mm-hmm.
2027, we're going to allow the general public to travel to space and stay in a hotel, right?
Yeah, man.
Um, it's crazy to me. But one thing I want to ask you is, would you do it?
So it's funny because I checked this article out earlier in the week, and uh, I thought about it, and I talked to Christina about it, and I was thinking, I was like, I would not, I just couldn't, because I was just thinking, like, every, like, worst case scenario just ends in death. There's no, like, oh well, it's not like a normal hotel, right? Like, if there's
It's
an
not.
earthquake, you can kind of like run outside and you'd be all right, or you can get in the arches, or somehow you can survive. There's always
Flooding.
a Yeah, exactly. There's a decent survival
Yeah.
ratio up there. When it's the
Tornado.
space station or the space hotel or whatever, there is no other, like, you just die. Like, there is no other, like, let me survive somehow. Like, no,
Yeah.
you're just dead. So um
I like how in
and
the
I'm sure.
background of this shot that we have on the live stream too, this graphic that they designed, there's like a hurricane on
Oh
Earth.
yeah. Oh
It's
yeah,
it's almost like
exactly.
they're like, hey, well, it could be worse. But you're right. I mean, that's my thing, and I think that's why I get so over the top invested in space thrillers like that because
Hmm.
I think exactly the way you're thinking. There's no escape from here. If
Hmm.
something goes bad, maybe it crashes into another satellite, or maybe
Yep, we have
there's an
problems with
oxygen leak.
space debris.
Yeah, space debris. Yeah, another oxygen leak, a meteor shower. I mean, it's there's too much to go wrm. Too much to
Hmm.
go wrong.
Hmm.
And then how do you sleep if you're
Well,
rotating around?
though, that's the thing, though, right? If you're, I'm sure they'd have some sort of simulated, like, day night cycles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's not too much of an issue. Because it'd be the same as like how the astronauts sleep. But, I like I said, I just feel like, I don't know. Even if I go past the death thing, right? I think there's just too many other variables that I don't know how I would feel well with, like
Yeah.
how well I would do, because they are doing the massive rotating wheel, which does help with gravity, but at the same time, it's still not going to be able to simulate the same gravity that Earth has.
Mhm.
Um, just because of the fact of, like, how things are. So I don't know what kind of adverse effects that I may get from, say, being in space for, I don't know, even like a 3-night stay, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of effects that I could end up getting from that. And you also have to worry about space radiation. I'm sure they'll have like tons of space radiation, you know,
From the sun.
uh, yeah, exactly. Space radiation from the sun. Well, there's also just normal cosmic radiation that you get too,
Oh, yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna have tons of shielding and stuff like that to make sure that everything's okay. But I
Yeah.
just, I don't know. There's just, like I said, there's just too many variables to make me feel uncomfortable.
I agree.
It is a once in a lifetime experience, though, so that is a thing.
Mhm. Yeah, it is, but it could be a one-time experience too,
That's true.
and with that said, it just to me, so I pardon the pun, but I expect the price to be astronomical when this goes live.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, a few
Um,
$1,000s.
yeah, and it makes me wonder, who does this even appeal to?
I mean, it's the ultra rich, man. It's the ultra rich. Like, what was it? Me and Christina found a hotel that's just underwater, right? So it's cool because you're sleeping underwater.
Yeah.
Um, but the hotel, I think the room costs like, was it? I think it was some like $3,000 a night or something like that. So it was an insane amount of money for no good
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
So, this hotel, for instance, would probably be something along the lines of like, uh, you know, $10,000 a night or something like that. Because,
Probably.
that's the thing, right? You're not just paying for your room there. You're paying
No.
for the fuel to get you up
Travel.
there. You're paying for the fuel to get you back. You're paying for
Yep.
all sorts of other stuff. So,
Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's not equal comparison. It's basically like going on Priceline and hitting travel and room, right?
exactly.
Um, but a lot more expensive. And you're probably right saying five-figure amount, and
Oh yeah.
I would wonder if that would come down over time, but I just don't know. Even if I was in that extra wealthy category, right? I'm like you. I don't know if I would do it. I would love to see space. I would love to see what that's like. What I would probably do more so is do one of those Virgin Airlines, um, well, whatever he's actually calling it for this, whatever Richard Branson's calling it for this. I'd
Hmm.
probably rather do that where you go up in a shuttle and you're in space and then you return, you know?
Yeah, yeah, no, those are cool. I would do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I would do a trip to space like that, but I wouldn't live in space. I wouldn't stay in space, right? You gotta think too, there's gonna be a
Was
um
Virgin Galactic? Because
there you go.
I think that's the brand.
Yeah. So you have whoa, underwater hotel was $50,000 a night, apparently.
Oh, sorry, even more. There you go.
Good Lord, dude. I mean, just the fact that there's a market for that. I mean, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Um, so I would travel to space as long as I knew I was like right outside Earth. If you're in Earth's orbit and something goes bad, like you could probably still bring it back home pretty easy. Um, but I'm not a guy that is cut out to brave new worlds and explore new life, right? that's
Hmm.
that's not my
I want to
thing.
get all the safety checks done first.
Yeah, maybe after they do it for like 30 years, I could trust that, right?
Yeah, yeah. You know what though? I think I can do it after 10 years. I can do it after 10 years.
You think you could? Yeah.
10 years
Hey,
of
man.
clean, like a clean bill of health. Health.
Yeah.
I think that would
Yeah.
be good.
What this is going to turn into is a real life game of Among Us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's the imposter, man? Um, that's what they're going to be trying to figure out. Yeah, it's crazy. It's what I think is crazier is, I remember we had this conversation just a couple months ago of what is going to be the next thing that changes everything. And because the iPhone is one of them for sure. Uh, but it's been a while since there's been anything that's like been that dramatic in my mind. And we have just talked about a whole bunch of them, and a lot of it has to do with
Hmm.
space travel.
Yeah.
Space travel, I remember, I'll have to look to see if there's an update on this, but I remember last time I looked, Los Angeles was planning to have artificial intelligence or guide people through the Olympics in 2024. Um,
That'd be cool.
yeah, just really wild stuff that's going to change the game. And I think it's more so under the surface rather than the iPhone was very consumer, brought to you kind of thing. And even on the Super Bowl, they had an ad for you can book your trips to space now with one of those companies. I can't remember which one it was. But it's just crazy that we're at that point, man. That's the thing to me is it's just crazy that we're there.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, it's insane. Technology, we're on the cusp of like big technological breakthroughs.
yeah,
And it's just like, and it's not like one of those where it's where I think of like fusion technology, right? Where they say, "Oh, we're 30 years away from fusion technology," and they always say that. But I feel like we're really on the cusp of like we're probably like 5 years away from um, autonomous vehicles or something like that. Or I think 5 years away from like perfected 5G.
Yeah,
Um, 5 years away from X, Y, and Z or whatever like that. So it's really cool. It's a really bright future for us.
it is. Yeah. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot on the horizon, you might say, which would look a lot different from space. Um, I don't know. Maybe we can years down the road do a live Catchup podcast from the space hotel.
Yeah, man. Yeah, hey, that'd be cool.
You think about you already know there's gonna be a space McDonald's and a space I see a space Dollar General.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah. Mars already got a plot of land saved out for it.
hmm
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing is corporatizing space. That's going to be the next step. If you have a space hotel, you're going to have probably a space motel right next to it.
hmm
um, and then you're going to have space businesses,
hmm
inside there. And people are going to be trying to bring Fido to space, and then they're going to have a space dog park um filled with space doggy bags. I don't even want to see that
Exactly.
floating around. Yeah.
Oh, that'd
Um
be so messed up.
yeah, literally. So it just what's intriguing about it is everything that comes with the idea of a space hotel. Not just the facility itself and what it means for again, privatizing really space. Um and how those large corporations like Amazon and then food companies like McDonald's and all that would take to that. Could you get
Mhm.
Amazon Prime delivery 2 days or less to space? I don't know. Kind of wild. Um,
That'd be interesting, man.
yeah. Can I get DoorDash? Can I get DoorDash? So anyway, it's a good discussion. I think we talked about a lot of good things, man, as
hmm
always. It's a good Saturday catch up. We appreciate
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
jumping in on it with the live stream. Once again, if you want to get involved on the live stream, give us a like on our Facebook page and you'll be notified every time we go live.
hmm
um, and leave us a rating and review. Let us know how we're doing and what you liked about this episode, what your thoughts are. Would you stay in a space hotel? Let us know. Um, and then check us out on our website, nosignalrocks.com. You'll find the drop down menu with the Catch Up podcast page. It's also linked in the description of this episode. And reach out to us with your topic suggestions or interview ideas on the ketchupcast at
Yep,
gmail.com.
exactly.
All right, man. You got any parting words?
Parting words of wisdom.
Mm,
No, I
yeah.
don't. I just say stay safe out there, guys. I feel like we're very close to the finish line. We just need to buckle down for a little bit longer.
Yeah. And if we don't, we can just escape to space. So,
Exactly.
all right. Thank you so much for catching up with us. And we'll catch up with you next week. All right. Yeah. It was good. You know, for the live streamers, I'm very confused because it's very clear there are more people watching than what our tally on this StreamYard thing says there are.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm a little confused by that, but I think it's not a bad thing. It's better than it being in the reverse of that, where there's less people watching than we think there are, right?
True.
So
True.
but yeah, no, this was a good discussion. I'm glad we did it. Thank you guys for joining in with us. I know we kind of have to switch up when we're going live sometimes, and I'm sure we could do a better job of even just making a post about when we're going live.
hmm
Um, but yeah, thank you guys for doing that. Getting involved in the discussion. We always appreciate it. And keep an eye out for that new content coming soon. The Turo rental car challenge. That'll be fun.
It'd be
That
real
we
good.
shot when I was in Dallas. And then we're gonna have our good friend Aaron Wandra on in 2 weeks. I need to discuss with him what the topics are, but I have some ideas. I think it'll be fun. Uh, so much more coming soon. So thank you guys for catching up with us, and we'll catch up with you next week.